All right, we are back for another edition of Wedding Wednesdays here at Your Relationship Sucks, helping all these people who are planning their nuptials figure out how to plan them in honestly just a smarter way. These people, they just get, they just make bad decisions. You make bad choices, you get stressed. I understand it. I get it. That's what we're here for. We're trying to help you out. If you're watching us, thank you. If you're listening to us on the podcast, thank you. Either way, try and help us out, do the other one, switch it up, whatever, subscribe, all the stuff, whatever we're supposed to do, all those things. We do appreciate it. But let's get into it. I don't know what's happening. This is all off the cuff. I never have any idea. Everybody knows the deal. I never have any idea what's coming at me, but you got something good for us today. So let's get into it. First impressions. What do you have?
It is. My mother-in-law keeps calling me Bridezilla while making demands. Who's the brat?
Yes. That's my initial impression. Yes, absolutely.
That's
I
it.
agree.
Just yes. That's what we're going with. Okay.
Yes.
I want to start this letter off by saying how truly lucky I am to have the future in-laws that my fiance is giving me. They're warm, generous, wonderful people who I love deeply. That being said, it's kind of knocked me off my feet how differently people can act once wedding planning has begun. We're about 5 months into our 1-year engagement, and for each of these months, my future mother-in-law has made 5 times the number of inappropriate jokes, comments, or demands about our wedding. How do you make an inappropriate joke about a wedding?
5 times what? It's a very specific.
Yeah, 5 times.
It's a very specific statistic that she left.
Has made 5 times the number. So like,
there's no comparison. I don't know what that means. Then normal or then her?
Yeah, 5 times than normal is what I'm assuming. Like before the wedding planning started.
Okay, I guess. I don't know. I'm confused. That's a poorly worded sentence. I don't understand what's happening.
I guess like.
I also don't know what an inappropriate.
Is it increasing each month by 5 times? Like
that's kind of what it sounds like. She said she's real stuck on this number 5 here. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's getting 5. So maybe it's 5 times as bad as it was at the beginning. I guess you could be right on that. But again, then she would have to be tracking how many it was at the beginning, right? And so now I'm curious how many it is today versus the beginning.
What is her baseline just a little annoying anyway, but she just went and said how great they were?
Oh, no, look, this girl is straight up Ricky Bobbying the shit out of this question, right? She's just full on like, no offense, and then she said some stuff, right? I mean, like, this is the classic, like, in sitcoms, they do this joke all the time, right? Like, no offense, but you suck, and it's like, well, all right, I'm offended by that, you know what I mean? Like, that's what she did, right? She was like, look, no offense, these people are great, except they suck, right? I mean, that's what she did. So I don't understand what's happening. She just doesn't want to sound like she's ungrateful or whatever. She's trying to sway the judges, right? That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to sway the judges in her favor by saying, "Look at me, I'm so giving. I'll be positive about my future mother-in-law."
For example, she thinks it's cute or funny. She can be a bit immature to call me a bridezilla. A word I find extremely misogynistic and hurtful. She's only let it slip a handful of times.
Hold on a second. Hold on. No, and I'm not even making a political, like fuck that, like whatever. Is that misogynistic? And I'm not saying
the root of
like whatever.
I think because it's like making women seem to be like dramatic or crazy for like whenever they get
okay, so here's
like whenever they get taken with some emotion, they just become like labeled as that. That's like I think where the misogynistic term is coming from. I've never heard that apply to Bridezilla. Usually it's women using it to women, which
this is
I don't know if it's because it puts women against women. That's like the things I'm coming up with right now.
Right. So this is my question. If she didn't do it before, it sounds like maybe she didn't say this before. Otherwise, I'm assuming this woman wouldn't be like, oh, well, she's great, except now she sucks, right? So if she didn't do this before, is it really misogynistic? Or is she just saying like, hey, you're becoming a bride and you're being crazy about being a bride? That's kind of what it sounds like to me. Like, she's just basically trying to describe what she's doing. She's not saying, like, you're a crazy woman. She's saying, literally, you being a bride is making you crazy, right? Again, I don't know. Maybe this misogynistic, whatever. That's not the point of this. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, this girl, like, she's throwing a lot of questions in there that's making me hate her, right? Like, she's throwing a lot of, like, just little digs, right? Like, oh, she's immature. Oh, it seems misogynistic to me, right? Like, she's throwing a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And she's trying to sway the fucking judges, and she's not giving you the facts, right? She's not giving you the facts. And my guess is, when we get to the end of this, because the facts are not on her side. That's what I'm saying, right? You know, like, she's just trying, it's a loaded, the way she's presenting it is very fucking loaded, and it really gets me, because I hate when people load that shit. Like, let me be the judge. If you're going to ask a question, just give me the facts, and I will answer it, right? Don't fucking lead me to the answer you want to hear. Give me the facts, and listen to the truth, right? So it sounds like this woman doesn't want to hear the truth. That's my impression, right? So my second impression is that this woman is wrong. That's what it is. Go ahead.
She's only let it slip a handful of times, but it's always been in line with her ridiculous ideas surrounding our wedding that she thinks are valid decisions she has a right to make, like having a block of 6 songs by her favorite 1950s band played in the middle of the night. What an awesome way to get everyone off the dance floor. Or talking down the beautiful antique mirrors that line one wall of the reception space because she didn't want to be forced to look at herself, in quotations, what? Or her never-ending additions to the guest list that, as far as we know, aren't being matched by a larger monetary contribution. I don't want to sound like a brat here, but weddings in New York City aren't cheap. Hello, $200 a head. And we're splitting the cost in thirds with our parents and are finding ourselves quickly surpassing both of the other 2/3 in how much we're spending because of this guest list issue. There are about a dozen of her friends and family members on the list who we haven't ever met or maybe spoke to once in passing. Every time one of these issues comes up, I either clam up and don't say anything in hopes of avoiding a fight, or say something more sternly than I normally would, like, no, we're absolutely not playing 20 straight minutes of the Beach Boys, hashtag sorry not sorry, to which she smirks and shrugs and suggests she'll find a way around. Please help me out here. I need to figure out a way to speak to her about all of this with my fiance, who's a bit of a mommy's boy and finds it hard to stick up to her because the date and all of the decisions are quickly approaching, and so are the fights I'd love to avoid. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Jesus,
I was kind of hoping you were going to be proven wrong on your last statement, but you called it pretty accurately on how she was loading the entire question.
Oh, this whole fucking thing is loaded. Like, this is the most loaded question we've ever had.
That is true. Of anything, not just a
literally of anything that we've ever done. Honestly, this might be one of the most loaded questions I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, and that's not even an exaggeration.
We have heard some ridiculous things.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That were not as loaded as this one.
Look, there are people, and this is not a joke. There are people whose questions we've answered or will answer depending on when this thing goes up. There are people who have asked questions and stated that they have been physically beaten in a less loaded way than this girl is saying that her mother-in-law wants to listen to the fucking Beach Boys, okay? That's not even, like, that's not hyperbole. It's not exaggeration. Like, go listen to the other episodes. There are people who literally say that they have been threatened and or actually physically harmed, and yet not had it sound as loaded as this fucking girl's questions, okay? Who's the brat? You're the fucking brat. That's the answer. You're the fucking brat. Is your mother-in-law clear? Absolutely not, but you're the fucking brat. Look at how you communicate. Look at the way you do these things. You say something and then you fucking incite it, right? You're just, bam, let me get in there. Let me fucking jam some words in there that's going to incite you against this. I want you to see my point of view, and so I'm going to ask this in a way that only I am going to be right. That's not fair. That's not how you do this. That's not how you ask a question, and that's not how you get fucking advice, okay? If you actually want advice, then you leave every single one of your fucking parentheticals out of this goddamn question. Every single one of them. needs to leave this fucking question, okay? That's the problem. The problem is your inability to have an objective conversation about what you are doing wrong and what somebody else might be doing right, okay? Now, don't take that to mean I think that the mother-in-law is right.
Yeah.
But this girl is so fucking blind that she has no idea what is coming. She has no idea that other people might be possibly correct about anything in the world, because she is dedicated to the idea that she is 100% in the right.
Yeah.
And she can ask it however she wants, but the proof is in the pudding. She literally wrote it in there. It is the most loaded question we've ever had in our entire lives. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let's get into the actual question. All right? Wow. I don't understand the 2/3, 1/3 thing and then saying that they're now paying more than the 1/3. Here's the problem with that. It probably goes to her inability to communicate. If it's supposed to be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, then at the end, you guys will, however you want to pay for it as it goes, at the end, you guys will settle up, right? At the end, everybody will settle up, if that's how it's supposed to be. If that's not what the agreement was, then stop calling it 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay? Just stop. Just fucking stop it, right? Because she said very specifically, we are splitting it 1/3, okay? If that's the understanding that everybody has, then I agree with you that the mother-in-law would be inviting people and would not be, quote unquote, paying her fair share, right? Because she would be,
Yeah, it's
2/3
like
of that would be going to somebody else.
for everyone,
Right.
including the bride's parents. And
Right,
that's like,
right.
yeah,
So
that's kind of shitty.
she's
That's
getting-
inconsiderate.
Yeah, 100%. And she would be getting a discount on something that she wants, right? So she'd be getting a discounted price on bringing additional people in.
Yeah.
If that was the agreement. It doesn't sound like that's what the agreement was. It sounds like what the agreement was is that the parents each said, we'll pay for something very specific, and the two getting married said, we will pay for the guests, because she knows $200 a head. She fucking knew that, right? My guess is that's what happened. Is she said we'll pay for the guests.
So like $200 a head isn't like
that seemed kind of reasonable.
City,
I have no idea.
Definitely like got to be more than that. I don't know, like because it's that in a like almost every major city, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
From what I've heard.
So here's the thing. Understand what fucking agreement you had. Understand the agreement. If the agreement is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, that's a different conversation than if the agreement is you were going to pay for the guests. If the agreement is you are going to pay for the guests, then you have all the standing in the world to say, hey, we're paying for the guests. This is my wedding. I don't want these people at my wedding. Right? Like this is like, no, I am not going to pay for these people to come to my wedding. I don't want them here, whatever. Right? If the agreement was 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, it's a different conversation. You can still get the same outcome, but it's a different conversation, right? In which you say, listen, I appreciate, you helping me out, whatever. I genuinely do. I really do appreciate that. Although, honestly, this girl, I don't think she actually appreciates it, but whatever. But
yeah, it seems like an entitlement.
Yeah, this girl is so fucking entitled. It's unbelievable. But the conversation that you have with 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 is not a flat out no. It's, hey, listen, we are splitting all of this. This is not something that I want in here. And I don't think it's fair for my parents to pay for that, all of those things. So I'm going to put my foot down. I don't think that we should do this, whatever, right? That's fine, okay? That's totally fine. But the way you approach it has to be a little bit different depending on what the fucking agreement was. So understand what the agreement was. Stop trying to sell your fucking point. Make sure that you understand the agreement before you have that conversation. This is the problem, by the way, with throwing all these little jabs in during this whole diatribe about why your mother-in-law is the fucking Antichrist, right? Like, this is the problem. Because now I don't even know what the agreement was. So I can't give you solid advice because I don't know what it is that you are actually asking about. As far as the Beach Boys, okay, first of all, when she said 1950s, I'm pretty sure the Beach Boys were all like 7 years old in the 1950s. So that threw me for a loop. I'm going to be honest with you. Like when she said 1950s, I was like, oh, all right, there's going to be like maybe a little Sinatra or something like that, you know? And honestly, I was kind of like, all right, well, you know, if you get a little Sinatra, a little, you know, a little crooner, right? Get some crooner in there. I was like, actually, might not be bad, right? You get a little swing music, you know, something like that, like something happening, you know, yeah, it's a little old school, you know, whatever. It's not hip hop, but hey, look, you know, whatever. You get some old people, they'll get up, they'll dance, all that shit, you know, like that'd be cool. So now I can't tell if like the 1950s was a joke or if she genuinely thinks that the Beach Boys were from the 1950s. But she said very specifically the Beach Boys, right? So my guess is that means that the mother-in-law says, I want six songs by the Beach Boys.
She signed, her sign-off was F the Beach Boys.
Okay. So her mother-in-law very specifically said, I want the Beach Boys.
Yes.
Okay. Again, this is the problem with fucking throwing all these goddamn jabs in and trying to steer the conversation in the way that you want it to go, right? Is you say 1950s, and I have one thought about what that means. The type of music that came out in the 1950s, the type of things that you could have, that could mean Elvis, that could mean Jerry Lewis, Jerry Lee Lewis, that could mean any number of people, right? There's a number of blues singers that could mean any number of people. And those actually kind of go with the wedding, right? Like there are songs that go with it that it's like, all right, maybe it's not like the new music or the music you want or whatever, but you do have these other guests.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Frank Sinatra has been played at many weddings and is still played at 100%, many weddings,
right? 100%.
Today.
Like the songs that they sing, like all of that stuff, like it's sort of a timeless type of music, right? Again, it may not be your favorite or whatever, but there are older people there. They might enjoy hearing a little bit of that, right? Now, so stop being a piece of shit and just give us the facts. But if she wants to play the Beach Boys, look, here's the thing. She's your mother-in-law, right? She's paying for a third of your wedding. Like she's giving you, and you're saying $200 a head. I don't know how much your wedding's going to cost, but it sounds like it's going to be a lot of money. Again, that could be $7,000. That could be $170,000. I have no idea how much it's going to cost. But she's giving you a third of that, right? She's not giving you $700. It doesn't sound like. It sounds like she's giving you more than $700. She can listen to one fucking Beach Boys song, you know, like throw her two, whatever. Like, I agree with you. Fine. Don't have 20 minutes of Beach Boys. Like, whatever. That's fine. And don't even play them back to back. Fine. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But make it a thing. Say, hey, look, we appreciate everybody. Like, we really want, you know, the thing. Boom, right here. The mother-son dance, right? Make it a fucking Beach Boys song. You know, tell her like, hey, you know what? Like, we don't really want to, but I know you love the Beach Boys, and you know, it'd be really cool. I think if you guys, you know, kind of dance to a Beach Boys, you know, maybe you guys could do, you know, something different. You do the jitterbug, you know, you do just like some older type dancing, right? Like you do something where, you know, hey, can we do the twist or you know something like that? You could do all that shit.
You could even
to
pick
it. That would be fun.
Another song and tell her like, you know, her new in-laws. Thank you for helping us with the wedding. You know,
exactly.
Song in tribute to you. There's a way to work 100%. It in where it's meaningful.
Absolutely.
She feels special because clearly the mother-in-law doesn't feel special right now.
She may not have daughters. She may not have daughters. Think about that. She may not have daughters.
We don't know. And
she doesn't get to do this.
It's not necessarily the bride's responsibility to fulfill that for her mother-in-law, but she's going into a family. If you're looking at your in-laws as part of your family, it's a nice thing to think about. You know, there's other ways. You know, the mother-in-law doesn't like to have the mirrors. You can just say, sorry, we're doing the mirrors. We like them, and stop thinking about it. Stop, like, it sounds like, and you brought this up, it sounds like the way she's talking to her mother-in-law is giving her mother-in-law jabs back, so her mother-in-law keeps wanting to dig in. And it sounds like she now knows the Bridezilla comment, whether or not, you know, I guess my opinion is if a word rubs someone the wrong way that you care about, like stop using it. You don't need to find another way.
Sure,
like
that's fine.
You know, there's other words that like don't rub the same way that they'll take like ingest better. And that's what you got to figure out, whatever. So this mother-in-law like is obviously feeling replaced or feeling some sort of way about this new phase in life and is not handling it well. And she may even be like a little immature about it. Yeah, probably, whatever. We all are sometime. But the bride is giving it back to her and is feeding it. Like she's just giving her material to go off of. And it didn't say one time, which I'm curious about, has the bride told the mother-in-law that it really hurts her feelings when she says Bridezilla? It's
very, very unlikely. Honestly, it's very unlikely. Look, that's kind of my point, right? Stop fucking calling it misogynistic. Stop calling it all this stuff, whatever. Ask her to stop. And if she doesn't, tell her whatever. But understand, and here's the other thing, right? If you accept money from somebody, then you accept responsibility. unless they very specifically say, this is no strings attached, right? In which case, that's on them if they want to get mad about it. And you go, look, you said no strings attached. You go fuck yourself, right? But that's not what it sounds like happened here. So either pay for your own fucking wedding and tell her to leave, or understand how to incorporate a little bit of this. Look, she might, again, I'm serious. Like, this is a real thing, right? Like my mom is someone who doesn't have girls, right? She doesn't have any girls. And so she doesn't get to do the mother-daughter stuff at the wedding, right? She doesn't get to see that side of things. And so having my sister-in-law use my mom in a way that was incorporating her into the planning and into that sort of stuff was very meaningful to my mom. It was very, very meaningful to her because my mom doesn't get that. She will not get that from that side. She just won't. Like, that's the facts of life, right? So doing things like that is like you said, it's helpful to have family and to help them and do those things. It's nice to do. All of that stuff is true. But at the end of the day, this girl needs to understand, you sound like a fucking brat when you talk. Like, everything you said, you're the brat. Honestly, I'm on your mom's side. I'm on your mother-in-law's side. I am. Like, yeah, I think the mirror thing is super weird, but you know what? Guess what? I don't like the way I look and stuff. So I get it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it's a weird request. Like, actually, again, I respect the balls that somebody's just like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Take him down. Just fucking take him down. Get it out of here. Let's change this take the whole wall down, whatever. Like, I respect somebody who says that. Weird if you expect it, but I respect anybody who says it.
You need to remodel. That's how.
100%. Yeah, I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, you get what you ask for sometimes, right? Like, you can only get it if you ask for it, right? So you might as well.
I
like,
know,
take a shot in the dark.
That's one of your mottos.
100%. Like, what's the worst that happens? She says no. Okay, fine. Then, you know, whatever. But if she says yes, then you get a whole day of not having to look at yourself in the mirror. Like, that's awesome. But I'm on the mother-in-law side here because this girl is so entitled and she's so vindictive, and she's not hiding it. She's not hiding her vindictiveness, and she's not hiding her level of expectations, and she's not hiding any of the hubris that she has. Like, she's just not hiding it. She's being so specific about all of these things, and I'm going, okay, fine, like, that's okay. Have a real conversation with your mother-in-law. Like, speak to her like a human being. Do these things. Incorporate her in something about it. Tell her thank you for giving you all this fucking money. Like, any of those things would do. It doesn't sound like you've done any of those things. So that's what you need to do. I think we've given her good advice. Like, these are very specific things that you can do.
I have two things to add. One, a wedding is for two people. If you're going to say that something offends you because it's misogynistic, then you need to accept that, especially if you're going to say that that's a problem that you are aware of and as something you think about in your daily life. A wedding is for two people. Having, the bride's family pay for everything, having it be the bride does everything and the groom doesn't do anything, and also not allowing the groom to make choices is not an equal partnership going into the wedding. I think that happens a lot, and then people are really surprised about how their marriage ends up. But in the planning of the wedding, if when responsibilities aren't equal or people aren't equally interested, like, I'm not saying every dude gives a shit about planning parties, but some dudes do, and they don't actually get to pick because there's so much. This is the one thing that the bride gets, and that is historically.
He might have an opinion. He might have an opinion. She said he won't talk to her. She may have said, you need to tell your mom this, as opposed to, what do you think about this from your mom?
Exactly.
Right? And that's what you're talking about.
And I'm saying it's for each couple to figure out. But what it seems like is that this is something that this bride thinks about, and that this is something she hopes to have in a marriage that's a little bit more based on equal partnership. Planning the wedding and planning, like, how you interact with your in-laws, whether that's like a sister-in-law, brother-in-law, mother-in-law, whatever, is still going to set the tone for the rest of your life. Yes, it's like maybe this event is a party and getting married is important, but some of these things will continue to happen. If you can't have, if you think your mother-in-law is not going to have similar methods of communicating when you have children, then that's very
Good
foolish.
point. Good point. Good point. That's why we keep you around. Great point.
This
Great
is something
point.
that needs, like, this is a much easier conversation to have about boundaries about the wedding, and be like, look, we're doing these some things. I'm willing to compromise on this. Can we do this? But these are non-negotiables for me. These are non-negotiables for my husband, your son, Tim. This is what we want. And the husband does need to be like, this is what we want, but she needs to ask him, do you want this? Do you care about, and if he says no, then he should just, support his wife on like her more reasonable things. If the mother, at the end of the day, if the mother-in-law wants to invite a couple more friends and you say, you may invite those friends if you pay for your friends, I don't mind. Problem solved. And if she doesn't want to pay for it, that's a choice, because she's saying, I gave my mom 10 people, I'm giving you 10 people, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Like, problem solved. I'm sorry, but it's, otherwise it just gets out of hand. We got to cut it somewhere. You need to make your choices, but that will happen when you have your kid. The boundaries will get blurred, and you need to know, like, these are the things I care about, and these are the things I'm willing to compromise people on. Because the reality is, if you're going to have your mother-in-law, your own mother, people around your family helping you out with your kid, watching your kid at some time, you like, it's unrealistic to micromanage. They're obviously not going to do the job that you want, because that's life. And yes, it's your kid, it's your wedding, these are things that you really want to have go exactly how you want, but it is so exhausting to have in your mind something that's going to go a specific way when that's not reality. That is an exhausting way to live life, and starting your wedding out like that is just not the way to go.
Totally agree. Those were great points. That's why we keep you around. Unbelievable drop in. Loved every second of that. So this girl, stop being a bitch. Not that difficult. Stop being a bitch. We gave you some step-by-step. We told you what you need to do. Figure it out. Hopefully you figure it out before your wedding and not, let this drag on. So, all right, we did it. We solved another one, helping more people get married in just a more serene environment. So people, you can check us out. If you got more questions, wedding related, non-wedding related, whatever you want, relationships, life advice, whatever you want, hit us up. We got an email. What's the email?
info.yourrelationshipsucks@gmail.com.
All right, so you can hit us up there. You can hit us up on check out the podcast for sure. Definitely check out the podcast. So your relationship
it's
sucks
under
podcast.
the same name. It's available on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcast.
Look at that shit. We are international. Unbelievable. We are global. It's a global.
We're
brand.
going places.
This is a global.
It's amazing
brand.
what happens when someone else. You just click a button and it's distributed to all the major
100%.
outlets. It's a beautiful world to live in.
I really agree with that. We are global giants walking on the backs of other people who are doing all the labor for us. Really appreciate all those people. Don't know your names. Never going to learn them, but that's fine. So hit us up on the podcast, subscribe, all that stuff. Watch, the YouTube, all this. We would appreciate any sort of support, that you can lend us is very much appreciated. We do, thank you for watching, listening, all that stuff, whatever. We will keep doing this, but we really do genuinely appreciate people paying attention. So definitely hit us up. And we will be back next Wednesday, with another wedding catastrophe that we are trying to help navigate, right? That's
thank God people keep getting married.
100%.
And it has not slowed down because of COVID. Amazing.
Nope, not at all. We love it. Keep getting married. Keep making dumb decisions. We will be here to help you.